Have you ever felt completely misunderstood by the person you love most? Like you're speaking two different languages, even after years together. What if the real problem isn't that you're incompatible, but that you're both trying to solve the same wound in completely different ways? That idea doesn't come from a modern relationship coach or a viral TED Talk. It comes from a psychologist who is quietly revolutionizing how we understand human beings over 100 years ago. And what he discovered might be the most useful thing you'll ever hear about love. Stay with me, because by the end of this, you're going to see your relationship through a completely different lens. Alfred Adler believed something radical for his time, that every single human being, from the moment they're born, is driven by one core need. Not pleasure, not power in the aggressive sense, not even survival. He called it the desire to belong, and more than that, the desire to feel significant, to matter, to know that your existence has meaning to the people around you. And here's where it gets interesting for couples. It's because when two people fall in love, they don't just bring their personalities into the relationship. They bring their entire history of trying to feel significant. Every childhood moment where they felt invisible, every time they were praised or shamed, every strategy they developed, consciously or not, to secure their place in the world. Adler called these strategies our style of life. And the trouble is, most of us don't know we have one. Think about the couple where one partner constantly needs reassurance. Do you still love me? Are you happy with me? Did I do something wrong? While the other partner pulls away the moment things get emotionally intense, saying things like, I just need space. I'm not good at this. From the outside, it looks like a mismatch. One person too needy, one person too cold. But through Adler's lens, something else is happening. Both partners are pursuing the same goal, to feel safe and significant, but they've developed opposite strategies to get there. One learned that closeness was the answer. The other learned that independence was protection. Neither of them is broken. Neither of them is wrong. They're both working from a map that was drawn in childhood before they even knew they were drawing it. This is one of the most relieving things Adler's psychology can offer couples. The understanding that most conflict isn't really about the dishes in the sink or the tone of voice someone used. It's about two people's deep need to feel valued, bumping into each other in the dark. Adler introduced a concept he called inferiority feelings. And before you dismiss that as something that only applies to people with low self-esteem, hear this. He believed every single human being carries some sense of inferiority. Every one of us, at some point, felt small, incompetent, overlooked, or not enough. It's part of being human. It's part of growing up in a world that is much bigger and more powerful than we are as children. The question Adler was interested in wasn't whether you feel inferior. It's what you do with that feeling. Some people become perfectionists, driven to prove that they are, in fact, more than enough. Some become people pleasers, endlessly accommodating others to stay loved. Some become controlling because control feels like the antidote to helplessness. Some withdraw because if you never fully show up, you can never fully fail. Now picture two of these people building a life together. A perfectionist married to a people pleaser. A controller in love with someone who withdraws. The dance they do around each other isn't random. It's two inferiority strategies in conversation. Sometimes beautifully, sometimes catastrophically. Here's where Adler's work becomes genuinely practical. He believed that the goal of psychological health, and by extension, the goal of a healthy relationship, was what he called social interest. In German, he used the word Gemeinschaftsgefühl, which roughly translates to a feeling of community, of genuine belonging, of caring about others not as a strategy, but as a way of being. For couples, social interest means something profound. It means being genuinely curious about your partner's inner world, not just tolerating their quirks, not just managing conflict, actually wanting to understand where they come from, what they carry, what they need, and offering that understanding freely without keeping score. This sounds simple. In practice, It's one of the hardest things two people can do together. Because social interest requires a certain kind of courage, what Adler called the courage to be imperfect. The willingness to say, I don't have all the answers. I've made mistakes. I came from a family that taught me some unhelpful things. And I'm still here trying with you. There's another concept in Adlerian psychology that doesn't get talked about enough in the context of relationships. And it's this. Adler believed that all behavior is purposeful, that even behaviors that seem self-destructive or irrational are actually goal-directed. They're trying to accomplish something, usually something that once made perfect sense, even if it no longer does. Consider someone who becomes angry and argumentative whenever they feel criticized. From the outside, this looks like aggression, immaturity, maybe narcissism. But Adler would ask, what is the anger accomplishing? Often, it's protecting something fragile underneath the feeling of being fundamentally inadequate. The anger creates distance before the wound can be touched. It's a defense that's so old the person doesn't even know it's there. When a partner understands this, really understands it, not just intellectually, but emotionally, something shifts. The anger stops being an attack. It becomes a signal. And instead of escalating, you find yourself thinking, something hurts in them right now. What do they actually need? That single shift in perception from threat to signal can change the entire climate of a relationship. Adler was also deeply interested in birth order, and while this isn't the most scientific part of his legacy, it points to something real, that our early position in a family shapes the strategies we develop. The eldest child often learns to lead, to achieve, to hold responsibility, and can struggle with relinquishing control or asking for help. The youngest may learn to charm, to negotiate, to use warmth as currency. The middle child often becomes a skilled mediator, attuned to fairness and deeply sensitive to being overlooked. None of this is destiny. But when two partners come from different family constellations, they often bring different assumptions about how love should work. One assumes love looks like acts of service and problem solving. The other assumes love looks like presence and conversation. And because both assumptions feel obvious and natural to each person, neither one questions them. They just feel frustrated that the other person doesn't seem to get it. Understanding this isn't about labeling yourselves. It's about recognizing that your partner's way of loving you might be different from your way, and different doesn't mean less. There's something quietly radical about the way Adler framed the purpose of a romantic relationship. He saw it not as a place to get your needs met, though of course that matters, but as a place to practice the fullest expression of social interest. To choose every day to see another person as a full human being, to contribute to their flourishing, to build something that belongs to both of you equally. He was critical of relationships where one partner unconsciously positions themselves as superior, always the one who gives, always the one who knows best, always the one who suffers more. And equally critical of relationships where one partner makes themselves inferior, always accommodating, always yielding, always shrinking. These dynamics, Adler would say, aren't love. They're unresolved inferiority feelings playing out between two people who chose each other for reasons they don't fully understand yet. Real love, in his framework, is horizontal. It happens between two people who see each other as equals, not identical, not without conflict, but fundamentally. Essentially equal in value and dignity. So what does all of this look like in practice? Not as therapy, homework, not as a framework to diagnose your partner with, but as a living, breathing shift in how you move through a relationship. It might look like pausing the next time you feel hurt or dismissed and asking yourself, what am I really trying to protect right now? Not to excuse the behavior, but to understand the need underneath it. It might look like getting genuinely curious about your partner's childhood, not in a clinical way, but in a human way. What did they learn love felt like? What did they have to do to feel safe? It might look like practicing the courage to be imperfect together. Saying I was wrong not as a defeat, but as an act of intimacy. I don't know how to do this better yet. But I want to, as one of the most honest and loving things you can offer someone. And perhaps most of all, it might look like choosing again and again to believe that your partner's difficult behaviors aren't evidence of their flaws, but signals of their history. That behind the withdrawal, the anger, the need for control, or the need for reassurance, there is a person who once felt small and who chose you, of all people, to feel safe with again. Adler's psychology doesn't promise that love will be easy. It doesn't offer a technique to eliminate conflict or a formula for the perfect relationship. What it offers is something more durable than that, a way of seeing, a reminder that every person you meet, and especially the person you share your life with, is doing their best with the map they were given. And when you can hold that truth gently about yourself and about them, something softens. Not everything, not all at once, but something. And sometimes that's exactly enough to begin again. If this resonated with you, share it with someone who needs to hear this. Don't forget to like the video, and if you want more videos like this, make sure to subscribe. I'll see you in the next one.